Hello and welcome to Megawatt, where each week we give you the lowdown on the latest piece of kit from the world of technology and gadgets. This week it's all about the BlackBerry Bold. We've managed to get one ahead of the UK launch to find out whether it really is an iPhone challenger. Stay tuned. So before we go into any of the features in greater detail, let's see what the phone has. Well, from a connectivity point of view, there is Wi-Fi, there's 3G, there's GPS, there's A2D2PP, whatever you'd like to call it from a Bluetooth stereo positioning point of view. There's a micro SD card slot on the side, there's a 2 megapixel camera with flash on the back. Then you've got a full size QWERTY keyboard, a lusciously half VGA crisp screen, and that's before you even start talking about the applications such as browser, email support, Facebook, Yahoo Chat, games, Google Maps, the list goes on. So it's the most consumery BlackBerry to date, but does it work? There are two things that you'll notice straight away when you get the BlackBerry Bold. The first is the size. It's a big beast. It doesn't look big, but look, it fits comfortably in my hand, and compared to the Curve, which we've got on here, you can certainly see that it is considerably bigger. Now it's actually only slightly wider than the iPhone, but it's still, with its large screen and large keyboard, gives you that sense of size. Now it's not too bad against the head, but be prepared, this isn't going to be something you can just slip into a top pocket and not think it's even there. Get past the size and you'll notice that the reason for the size is that massive screen, which is half VGA, and a very big keyboard. Now the keyboard is very easy to use, tiny bit spongy, but certainly one of the easiest keyboards we've used, and if you've used an 8800 from BlackBerry, then you'll feel right at home. The screen is impressive. It's the thing that everybody we've shown so far has gone, wow, look at that screen. And you can see it. Now this is the home page, which has been completely redesigned and shows the new operating system, 4.6 from BlackBerry, from RIM. And scrolling through, you can see that icons are highlighted, etc. The main icon page, now instead of having multiple pages like the iPhone, you just have one page that you scroll down and around through. And to make it even easier to find stuff, RIM has made folders, so we can store all our games into this folder. So we'll close that. Now you can create folders on the fly, whatever you want to store in. So if you want all your chat applications in there, you can do that, for example, or your downloads or Wi-Fi, or what have you. And it's a really good way of organizing the folders. Now a really nice, simple thing to do, which we found is really good, is that on the home screen you have these shortcut icons, which are obviously your favorite applications for you to be able to go to. So we've got security lock, for example, email, calendar, browser, entertainment, and GPS. But say we don't really fancy using the GPS and we want the camera to be on there. All you have to do is select the camera icon, click to move it up to the top row, press the action button, and Bob's your uncle, there it is. Now it sounds a silly thing and it sounds really simple, but I think that's really quite cool and really effective for getting those icons to what you want them to be. And that's the interface. So one of the great things about this is the actual little attentions to detail. Now we're just seeing the clock interface here, which is really simple but incredibly nice. And guess what? When you plug it in to your charger, the clock mode automatically comes on, which again is sort of an acknowledgement the majority of BlackBerry, should I say Crackberry addicts, go to bed with their BlackBerry device. There's also something called bedside mode, which allows you to turn off the flashing LED light so it doesn't light up the room like a Christmas tree, dim the screen, and if you really want, turn off the phone capability so you don't get interrupted while you're sleeping. And then of course there's an alarm to wake you up with the music of your choice, which brings us nicely on to the music multimedia functions. Now, it's very simple. It's no iPhone or iPod competitor. Now, you can also download videos to this. I'm going to show you a demo for Speed Racer. As you can see, the screen is incredibly crisp, and I'd certainly happily watch half an hour program, if not longer, on the device. Now, to try and make it even more consumer friendly and more multimedia friendly, BlackBerry are even offering an application which you can download. Admittedly, we have had trouble downloading it from BlackBerry at the moment, and we're not sure whether that's just because it's not available to all and sundry yet because we've gotten a device early or if there's just problems, but it allows you to sync your iTunes catalog with your BlackBerry. Now, before you suddenly go, hang on a minute, how does that happen? It doesn't sync DRM songs. So if you've bought stuff from the Apple iTunes store, then you won't be able to sync it with your BlackBerry Bold. But everything else, so all the CDs or movies or things like that that you've put into the system yourself, you'll be able to get them on this all at the press of a button when you connect it to your computer. Very impressive. Elsewhere on the multimedia front, there's obviously the 2 megapixel camera, which is good. It's not fantastic. It's no cyber shot from Sony Ericsson, but it certainly will get you out of trouble if you need to take a picture. But the great thing, certainly above the iPhone, is that it supports MMS, so you can still send picture messages to your mates when you're down the pub, and you can do video, something that the iconic Apple phone can't do either of. And that is multimedia. With 3G and Wi-Fi connections, you'd expect browsing to be super fast on the new BlackBerry Bold, and super fast it is. However, the browsing experience isn't as nice as we'd perhaps liked, and certainly nowhere near as good as on the Apple iPhone. So let's show you the browsing and see how it works. So we choose the browser. Now you can choose to have a home page you like. We've set it as Google, but you can also choose to run from this screen. Now this gives you a chance to type in an address bar URL. You can also search via Google or Wikipedia or dictionary, and it shows you a brief history of as well as what you're doing. So we'll go back to here, we'll type in the search box. So let's go BlackBerry Bold, and we'll see if Pocket Lint's written anything about it the last couple of days. As you can see, typing is really quickly because I'm using a hard keyboard. Do a quick search. Now this is on a 3G O2 connection. Now O2 haven't actually announced any plans for the BlackBerry Bold at the moment. However, and that was at the time of filming, although we are expecting them to support the device. They have pretty much supported every other BlackBerry available. So we'll see, we can scroll down, we can see that we've actually written a review of the device. On Pocket Lint. Now this is loading. Now this is quite a big page. It's not, on Pocket Lint we haven't optimized it for mobile or anything, and it's loading pretty quickly. Now within this, the settings, you can actually run it so that the pictures are shown low quality, medium quality or high quality. You can even choose to try and confuse websites when you go to them by suggesting this is actually a Firefox internet browser rather than BlackBerry, and there's a number of other options you can do on the browser, which is quite nifty. So we can then scroll through. As you can see, that page is loaded pretty quickly with all the functionality. Now this is where it starts to get a bit annoying for us. Using the trackball, you can move around, and you can see that little button there, and I can press down and that zooms in. But the problem is that you need quite a lot of thumb movements to get around the screen, and after a while it just gets a bit tiring, and it's not the quickest way of doing it. Now there are a number of other options. There's a column view, which will try and set the device up so you can get the columns, so you can see just the text in one simple column. And there's a mobile view as well as a desktop view, so you can try and arrange the page in a different way to try and best suit it. And it's just, overall, it's quite confusing. It's an okay browser from a downloads point of view. It's fine, it's super fast, especially if you're on Wi-Fi. 3G connection is great, but it's just that whole sort of lots of scrolling with your thumb that we found frustrating, certainly against other devices on the market, such as the HTC Diamond or the iPhone. You never guess what? The BlackBerry. It does email as well. Hey, who would have thought that? Yes, they haven't forgotten email. And it is at the core of the device. So we can select it. You can add that to on the consumer model, which is the one we're playing with, so not the enterprise. You can have up to 10 email accounts all tracked individually and separately. And the email interface is very much similar to what you've experienced before, but there's lots of nice little tweaks. For starters, finally, welcome to the world, HTML support. So we can show you here that if we go to a email that we got earlier, look at that. It's not an exciting image, but it's an image inside an email. Now, compared to how that would look on our regular BlackBerry, I can tell you it's not as pretty. Look at that, lovely You can also set multiple options for setting up. You can have it so you can display certain elements and things like that. But there's other little touches that they've done. So we've got an alert from Pocket Lint, and we want to find other alerts. So we scroll down and we go for search sender. And all of a sudden, it just gives us all the ones from that sender. A really nice feature. Not, well, I think John sent me one and I've got to find out, but where else are they? So that's incredibly quick. In addition to that, and unlike the iPhone, you can search your email right down to the word, to the subject, to the sender, all at the press of a button. You can copy and paste. Hey, who would have thought that would be possible? And you can do a lot of other things. And I think overall, it's BlackBerry doing what BlackBerry do best. It's simple, it's easy, there's massive amounts of functionality with the search, there's functionality with the settings, so you can have it so when you roam, you don't have email on, you can set it so there's only emails at a certain time, what it does, how it does it, etc., which is good because it means that this is yet another BlackBerry that does email as you want it. So what do we think? Well, the BlackBerry Bold is a really nice handset, whether it's the QWERTY keyboard that's easy to type with, or that incredibly bright screen that, well, just allows you to do everything from watching video to actually seeing what you're doing. It's a success. The multimedia functions, so the 2-megapixel camera that has geotagging capabilities using the GPS that's built in, it also allows you to do video, MMS, and plenty of other things. In fact, it's all very nice, and it's probably the most consumery BlackBerry that we've seen to date. In use, it's very easy to use. The keyboard helps a lot, the screen helps even more, and only the browsing is a bit of a faff, really. It's not the download speeds that affect it, it's just that scrolling around with your thumb gets a bit tiring after a while. When it comes to email, well, it's BlackBerry being BlackBerry. They've had a lot of challenges recently, and this device shows that if you're willing to pay that £15 a month, then you're going to get a red hot, super duper email service rather than something that might take 15 minutes to get your local email. Now, 15 minutes might be enough for you, but if you're not, if you're a real BlackBerry addict, then you're going to be happy with this. Up against the competition, the HTC Diamond, well, it certainly seems to be performing as equally well, if not better, and if you're not really fussed about mobile's window, then this is a good handset to go for. Against the iPhone, well, it's no iPhone beta on a multimedia functionality, but certainly on a business functionality when it comes to email. And if email is important to you, this is the handset to go for, rather than, well, that thing from Apple. Grumbles? Well, it's a bit big. It's large, and that does mean that you won't be able to fit it in your top pocket. And so if they can make one of these that looks like a curve, the size of the curve, which we've got in our pocket here, then that's going to be a real success. And supposedly the Javelin might do that when it eventually comes out next year. The other thing is the browsing. It's not brilliant, and it'll be interesting to see how the Thunder, yet another RIM device that's coming out later in the year, performs, and whether the touchscreen interface makes that browsing so much better. So overall, it's a thumbs up from us. Well, that's it for us this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Why don't you tune in next time for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more. This is Stuart Miles. This is Megawatt TV. Thanks for watching.